A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America.
Tariq Aloysius Flex Nasheed is basically getting it from all angles and not in the way that he likes. We just covered the fact that he's beefing with Tazariak. I get my morons mixed up too many times. Tazariak bin Alou Khalif, the Hebrew Israelite sycophant, and they fell out. I mean, they were on like a buddy friendship basis. They had each other's personal phone numbers. But when Tazariak found out that the queen, we was queens and shit, the queen of FBA is actually a transgender woman. That means he is a man named T.S. Giselle. I guess Tazariak had enough. His what is the thing they call that they wear around the edge of their shirt? His Power Ranger cufflinks were officially chafed. He had enough. And so he tries to reach out to Tariq. Tariq calls him an agent, his usual shaming and discrediting tactics. And so he lost his fringes. His fringes were singed. He found out that the queen of FBA was a tranny, and my guy's fringes were singed, and he decided that he had enough. He decided he was finished. So they fell out. And now Tariq Nasheed has been blindsided by Professor James Smalls, a person who has been, I would say, complicit in the FBA xenophobic hate cult scheme. He is now calling out Tariq Nasheed. I guess now that the anti-African, anti-Pan-African rhetoric of FBA has begun to impact his dealings over in Africa.
A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America.
It's a crazy situation. I consider all these people to be grifters. James Smalls is just an educated grifter like Sandy Darity. Tariq is an uneducated high school dropout grifter. But in my opinion, they work in tandem, and their goal is to commit a little fraud, commit a little bit of they misinform the people. They prey on the natural hyper emotionalism of African Americans, and in my opinion, they sow division for their personal gain. That's what I think their goal is, right? So they're all kind of working together. But Tariq has been called out by Professor James Smalls, and it's funny because you can tell Tariq did not expect this to happen. He is working on his next mockumentary called Hidden Color 6. I mean, damn, Tariq, at this point, how long the color's gonna be hidden? Hidden Color 6 it is quickly resembling the Fast and Furious franchise. I'm thinking Tariq, before he drops dead, he's gonna produce about 27 versions of Hidden Colors. Hidden Colors 27. Tariq's Flex's Revenge. Hidden Colors 26. Peanut comes out. Hidden Colors episode number 25. Back to Haiti. This guy is making this into a mockery at this point. But I mean, the FBA clan, what else are they going to do? They've totally failed at acquiring reparations. So they need something to believe in. And when in doubt, as is the practice of Tariq Aloysius, aka Mr. Bojangles, when he doesn't know what to do, he falls back on his training. He releases another Hidden Colors. And it's crazy because they've funded it already, and they fund it, they produce it, and then they buy it. What producer do you know that pays for a movie ticket to a movie that they produce? FBA, that's the producers we know, who then turn around and pay for a symbolic movie ticket to watch a film that they've produced. So James Smalls is in Hidden Color 6, and Tariq is going as far as to say he's removing James Smalls from Professor James Smalls from Hidden Color 6. And so if you remove James Smalls, he no longer got Umar. He didn't fell out with Rizza Islam, I think. I just saw bro downtown Long Beach, as a matter of fact. Who is he gonna have up there? Who is Tariq gonna have up there, bro? Hey, Tariq about to have Ben X up there or something now, because he's quickly running out of scholars. He's quickly running out of credible liars, people who have credibility, who are willing to lie and misrepresent historical events and facts so that it will fall in line with the nonsense that Tariq is spewing. It's crazy. But O'Shea, Duke Jackson, we're still trying to figure out what dirt Tariq has on O'Shea to where O'Shea just like bootlicks Tariq at every turn. Like, O'Shea, if you need help, just wink 2 times. Give us that or something. Because there's something going on in that whole O'Shea, Duke Jackson, Tariq Nasheed dynamic that just does not sit right with me. Like, O'Shea, you're more successful on social media than Tariq. You probably have more money than Tariq because Tariq actually has like a home and all that he has to pay for and a family to support. What has he got on you, bro, that where you have to like glaze this man? And if it ain't that bad, just let us know and it'll just be family business. It's better to just get out in front. It's just better to get out in front of that instead of making like hit pieces on James Smalls and Professor James Smalls.
A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America.
Do you think Professor Small is scared to say Tariq Nasheed is probably getting money from the government and that he got to subliminally take shots at him? I don't think so.
A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America.
See, what he's talking about other people who is repping FBA, that not Tariq Nasheed. He's talking about other people who is repping FBA that is actually trying to infiltrate, cause chaos within this FBA delineation movement. That is what he was speaking to. That is the playbook that he grew up experiencing. Because back in the day, like I said, start off the show, RIP, H. Rap Brown. That is what our government has always done, not just with Black Americans, because they have done it, people back in the 1920s or in the beginning of the 20th century that were claiming to be communists or whatever, J. Edgar Hoover. They have multiple COINTELPROs for multiple groups of people here in this country.
A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America.
And so niggas of today, but if you want to delineate and you want to make sure that Black Americans get reparations and restitution, well, nigga, you need public policy for that. You're going to have to align yourself with your enemies. You're going to need allies. We have a president in the White House today surrounded by nothing but enemies here and abroad. But he still sit down with them. He still have a conversation. He still got to come up and broker deals. You got to work with your enemy. If you want to get anything in this country, you're going to have to shake the hand of the devil. So you could delineate all the fuck you want. But if you ain't actually taking action via public policies on a local level, then sit your ass all the way the fuck down. You ain't serious. It's just internet talk. So me really kicking the back end of Tariq Nasheed, because honestly, me personally, I don't like the way he handled the situation with trying to call out Professor Smalls, because that was some sassy ass energy. He is not going to sit up here and be your leader and take you to the so-called promised land. You got to be your own leader. He's not going to sit down and write up public policies and say, this is what we need. He ain't doing all that, because he's not about to sit up here and sacrifice his livelihood for niggas. Ignorant at that. I'm not talking about, there are a lot of Black Americans that are actually doing stuff, but it's not enough to say that you want to delineate where you going and what are you doing. Delineation is an action where you have to actually see a result. So what are the results of you delineating? Have you gone to your local congressperson that you elected to go to Congress? Have you went to your local state congressperson in the House and the Senate to pressure them, to pressure the Congressional Black Caucus to have another committee hearing on reparations? No, you have not. No, you have not. You haven't even done it on a state level. There are people in the state of New York that are doing it. There are people in California that are doing it. But everything else in between, you are letting these politicians tell you what reparations is going to look like. And if you look at New York and if you look at California, the people that were actually doing the work to get reparations and restitutions for Black Americans, you got to look at the red tape and the barriers and the hell and the hard work that they're going to just to get a little leeway. So again, if you are going to delineate that, you need to have an action plan. You need to have an end goal. You need to have a purpose. Because saying I ain't fucking with no Black immigrants and no Africans, you don't got to deal with them. Because it's not about them. It's not about a white person. But you are going to have to make a deal with the devil. That's just how America is operated. That's just how this country is just run.
A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? But we don't know how much American State Department or Justice Department is involved in Foundation of Black America. A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay? A black face don't mean you ain't the FBI, okay?